Alright, welcome back for game number 3. I'm going to take this off pause, set my timer. So, here's my favorite piece of trivia about this game. A lot of people don't know this game exists, which I always find kind of interesting. Of course, most people that have ever picked up a video game controller are of course aware of the SNES version, which is incredibly popular. Rightfully so, the game's a classic. Anyway, yes, to add on to what Miz said.
My toes.
Sorry about the screen pause. I had to move the capture over. Anyway, this is going to be a bit different than what most of you are used to on SNES. A lot of things are going to be similar, but when you actually play the game, you'll notice the differences pretty quickly. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start us up. Select Michelangelo, who is honestly, to me, one of only 2 playable characters in this game. Mike is definitely the one I've spent the most time with. So my goal today is, in a perfect world, I would love to be able to get a 1 credit clear of this game. I've gotten only 2 of them ever, one with Mike and one with Don. In a marathon, I'm not liking my chances because this game is incredibly hard. But, you never know. Marathon luck works both ways. So a couple of quick things about our moveset.
Pizza time.
Won't be seeing a lot of standard normal attacks. We also can only dash automatically. It is not blue, sorry. Genesis has Hyperstone Heist, which is also a very good game. Anyway, before I get back into our move list, let's go ahead and take care of Bax real quick. This fight's really easy.
Terminate the turtle.
Bring out the arm gun. I'll take care of him.
Pizza time.
One thing I will advise, I actually run this game on the easy difficulty. Anybody who wants to knock me for not at least running the default difficulty, feel free to play this game yourselves and then tell me how easy it is. Even on easy, this game is disgusting. Alright, so anyway, about our moveset, we've got a couple moves out of dash we're going to make some use of. The shoulder is really terrible with one exception. Even the flip tackle in this game is bad. Stop with the back attacks, please.
Pizza time.
That was actually kind of scary. It took a pretty decent amount of damage there. We also have our forward special, which unlike SNES, actually doesn't eat health in this game. The downside of it, though, is that it's not invincible like it is on SNES. I use a Mad Catz TE2.
Pizza power. Cool off, sucker.
There are those guys. Here are a couple more enemies. On the Metalhead. This fight's generally pretty easy, but if I mistime a couple things, like I mistiming that jump there, then this can go not great. I didn't want that. Okay, pretty good fight.
Pizza time. Sewer surf.
On to Sewer Surfing, which, similar to the SNES version, is an auto-scroller, but it's not a bonus stage. It's not going to rack up points for us by the end. It actually is just a stage where we actually have to kill enemies. So anyway, the most important part of the moveset that I haven't discussed yet is the straight-up kick, which I've also referred to by a numerous amount of names. SRK is one of them, which I refer to as an abbreviation for Shoryuken, because you basically use this like a Dragon Punch in Street Fighter. It's completely invincible until you reach the apex, which makes it incredibly strong and useful when you're trying to get out of enemy clusters, which is going to be really important in this game. This game will fill the screen with enemies, no problem. Tag this pizza because we can. Pizza monsters in this stage are pretty annoying. They have active hitboxes almost as soon as they leave the water. Bowsette, how are you doing? So the tackle. So anyway, that's the other part of the moveset I haven't discussed. The reverse shoulder is incredibly good. It's one of your best moves. To do it, you press in the opposite direction that you're facing and press both buttons at the same time. It's a 2-frame window to do it. It's not completely invincible, but it does have a pretty good amount of frontal invincibility. This guy's being obnoxious here. Yeah, it's very, very good. So anyway, if your character's facing right, you press left plus both buttons, and vice versa. If you're facing left, press right and both buttons. I tend to not go for it as much as I should, simply because the input can whiff.
Power!
As mentioned, it is only a 2-frame window. Hey, what's up, Jason? Seen you around in a while. Hope you're well. Clear some enemies there. There's a good use of the invincibility there. Like, it's not going to hit me as long as I time it with the gate fall.
Pizza time!
Come on to our boss segment, which isn't actually a boss. I would stick me using it's a Mad Cat CE2, particularly the Marvel 2 version. That was unfortunate. You can take 12 hits to death in this segment if you start at full health, which I did. This segment's a real ball buster though, because the spawn intervals of these guys is random. So they can decide while airborne that one's just going to spawn and hit you, and there's really not much you can do. Okay, that clears us out though. No surprise for a lot of people, this game completely skips the Technodrome Blitzkick Shell stage and takes you right from sewer surfing into prehistoric Turtlesaurus. To me, this is when the game truly begins. Because now we're going to see enemies that we're going to see pretty much throughout the rest of the game. That was interesting. It's also going to be the part of the game where they just start getting everything clustered together. Like, the amount of enemies that are going to be on screen at once is going to be silly. I already said Ninja, it's the Mad Cat CE2. So Stone Warriors can be a real pain. Really, the ones that are unarmed really aren't that bad. What's up, Jesse? Grab this while I still can. They do have a pretty good jab attack that's really fast. Got baited there. That is true. So that's the other thing that I need to discuss with this game. A lot of old Konami arcade games utilize a system called the rank system, where the game gets progressively more difficult the better you're doing. So if you don't take a death, the game's just going to throw more enemies at you. That's not what would have happened. And that's a big reason why 1CCing this game is so hard. Essentially, I can't safely take a death until the last non-boss stage. I'm hoping that happens. But my consistency for it is not great. These guys are a really hard matchup for Michelangelo, by the way. The special doesn't get anything on these guys. Don has a much easier time with them because Bo Pogo just kind of gets right in their face and they can't touch him. So I kind of do some footwork there, especially when I'm on not great health. Nothing can deal 4 damage to me, but even getting knocked down twice is pretty bad. And yeah, they definitely designed this game to just make sure you are not able to beat it. The other thing a lot of people don't know, at 5 minutes in any stage, the game literally drops a literal bomb on the screen that's intended to one-shot you, and it actually does kill. So if you take too long on a stage, which can happen if you're fighting a lot of enemies, wink wink nudge nudge, then the game just decides to kill you.
Pizza time.
Here you have Cement Man, a unique boss to this version of the game. Replace the slash. Pretty simple if we get this jump loop. You only take 6 hits. Not too bad.
Skull and
Okay, so this was the first stage I had to spend a pretty good amount of time on when I was learning this game. Skull and Crossbones is really hard. We see a lot of new enemies we haven't seen yet, particularly those that can control a pretty good amount of space. Archer foot soldiers are one example. The more difficult example, though, are these guys with discuses. They can essentially anti-air you at any point they want. They can be baited, and it's incredibly good to do so. But the further away they are from you, I can talk today, the more difficult time you're gonna have. Most everything else is business as usual, but we are gonna see some new Stone Warrior weapons as well. That's not good. Really, a lot of this is just enemy grouping.
My toes, my toes.
That wasn't good. Problem with the flame like that is it does raw damage to you. In the case of most attacks in this game, it takes 3 hits to knock you down and cause damage, which in most cases does 2. Some attacks do 3. Flames, however, do 2 damage to you no matter what. Doesn't matter what you've done prior to that. We are going to get that pizza here soon, but I don't want it just yet. We've got another group of enemies I have to deal with. He is neither. Oh, God. Well, that's the worst possible way to lose a life. That was a perfect meaty setup, so rip the 1cc. Very unfortunate there. That sucks.
Pizza time.
Didn't even matter that I snagged that, though. We can still go for a 2cc, and I think that's very much a valid option. The part that sucks is I can't really show how difficult this game is going to be because there's going to be a reduced number of enemies. It's going to make it appear easier than it actually is. Good news is I'll probably finish in a faster amount of time. God, that was filthy. I've never been hit by that meaty setup before. I don't really know what to say to that. Marathon luck. Okay, take that guy out. So we have Toka and Razar, who honestly aren't that difficult, but they can cause problems. They both have charge attacks that have really weird frames. Especially in the case of Toka. Mike has a really hard time stopping Toka for whatever reason. Hoping that would be able to hit.
Pizza time.
Jeez. So the trick with them is you can just kind of wail on them like this, but they have a property that they can do where they just go into what I call extended hit stun, where they just stay in that hit animation for a lot longer than they need to. What that means is they're going to get iframes to be able to take a swing at you, and you can't do anything about it. If you see them do that, you have to get out of their way. I'm being really obnoxious right now. More obnoxious than I anticipated. We're having a death. Turn around, please. Okay, so Razar down. Toka's not too bad 1v1, as long as you can stay in his face. Razar with distance is gross. Anyway, this will move us on to what would ordinarily be the most important stage in the game, but now it's going to be really simple because I took that death that I didn't want to take. At least the music's really good. Not quite as much percussion in this version, but I still really like it. Still amazed this game isn't somewhere in Sunset Riders, like a bonus stage or something. Ordinarily, without a death, this stage would be swarming with enemies. I had to be fighting something like 8 enemies at a time. All in really, really good formation patterns as well. Okay. Enough out of you. New enemy here. We've got these soldiers with hook shots who are kind of awful at times. The proper spacing, they're not too bad. But they can really be a pain, much like any other enemy. I'm gonna grab this. Didn't want that flip tackle. I was trying to go for slide. As mentioned before, unlike SNES Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist, flip tackle in this game is awful. It has like no real damage quantity to it. It does as much as a standard tackle, which already doesn't do a lot of damage, except for the reverse shoulder, which I talked about earlier. Let's hack this.
Pizza power!
Good segment there. Gotta let this guy on horseback catch up to me. I always get way far ahead of this guy. No regrets either. It's his fault for not catching up.
Oh, goody.
So Leatherhead's an interesting boss fight. He has the least health of any boss in the game, technically. But any attack you do on him, no matter what it is, only does 1 damage. As for the gameplay itself, he kind of turns into a boxing match. He has a lot of really, really fast pivot movement. You can use that to control space to try to get in and try to hit you.
Pizza time!
Still a reasonable fight. He kept on us and let us hit him, so that's what we want.
Neon Night!
Alrighty, second auto-scroller. And potential hot take, I prefer this to the SNES track. The arcade version of the song is just unbelievable. The bass slaps super duper hard. Listen to that. Anyway, not much in terms of gameplay for the first portion of this stage. We're actually going to be doing a lot of enemy avoidance because enemies here despawn after a certain amount of time. Essentially with every loop of the music, all the enemies on screen are going to despawn. And that's one loop. I think that guy's going to stick around though, yeah, because he fits in with this group. Kunai are best avoided. Really though, none of the enemies in these segments are going to give us problems unless helicopters spawn, which I'm hoping doesn't happen. Now, this is pretty early for a discus guy. But I'll deal with it. This is a very similar strat to what you do in the skateboard stage on the original TMNT arcade. For what it's worth, you can pretty much scam enemy spawns and make sure they're never going to affect you. The exact same way I'm doing right now. There's going to come a point where I start to kill every enemy on the screen, though, simply because the stage is going to end. And, of course, we got a helicopter. Okay. Helicopters had to be dealt with very, very quickly. They actually can keep me out of the air. So they got to go. Lots more jumping around. After this loop is when I'm going to start just tearing through foot soldiers. Meantime, jumping around, doing lunge kicks. Really want a melee attack there. Proper grouping with DP, it's pretty easy to get to this, unless that happens, of course. Okay, so that'll clear us out of enemies.
Pizza time!
On to Super Krang. I love this idle animation of Michelangelo laughing, by the way. Legit one of my favorite things in the game. So, the start of the fight, the first thing I like to make Krang do is whiff the clap. The clap move is fully invincible, so it can beat anything that we do, but it also only does 1 damage. The fact that it's invincible means it's always a threat, so I tend to make it want to throw it at the start because I can't hit it with anything else. There is a faster strat to this that involves doing rotating reverse shoulders, but I tend to do a bit better when I'm going for safe strats, which is just walk up, hit, DP. The thing I enjoy about this fight, you get a lot of movement here. On the hoverboard, you're incredibly fast. What's up, Straw Halo Slayer, I like the name. Hit the clap. And there's not really much to say about Krang. It's a pretty simple fight. It's only as complex as you want to make it. Ah, jeez. That's not good. Should have DP'd on a wake up there to get away from that, but hey, we finished it up.
You're going to...
Close call, though. Alright, so on to Starbase. Unfortunately, by this point, since I took that death on the pirate ship, we are going to be at slightly higher rank than I want to be, which means this stage is going to be really, really hard.
I'm trying!
Especially with stuff like that. Alright, so here I'm going to try to just take care of enemies and hopefully not get hit. As I said, immediately get hit. I just need to stop talking, I guess. So DP is really important here to be able to maintain invincibility. Not good. We're not going to see a pizza for a while, so I think the 1cc is a definitive rip at this point. I'm going to do my best, though. Yeah, just so many enemies. Now that the rank's back up, this game's just kind of turning it up to 11 a bit. Yep, one more knockdown was gonna do it.
Shell shock.
So, yeah, bad pirate ship meant that this happened. We're still gonna finish the run, though. There's no reason not to show off the game. The game is great. Here are these guys. This is one of my least favorite enemies in the game. The rock soldier carrying a laser is awful. Like, he can preemptive you without any issues. And by preemptive, I mean he can attack you before he even appears on screen, which means he's just doing it with pure invincibility because he wants to. Okay, so this guy here, hear him. Ordinarily, my strat is get to this segment, or try to get as far as this segment and then probably take a death, because that does tone the stage down a bit. It lowers the rank. And this stage with one lower rank is much more manageable than what you saw at the beginning. But the problem is we need the extra life buffer. Truth in life, I've never actually beaten this stage without a death in any run, whether I've had a death already or not. Just a really, really hard thing to do. Snag this, work our way in.
Pizza time.
I think I can despawn these guys, or not. They caught me. Oh well. This is rude. Bazooka guys can be a pain, especially when they want a zone. So here we have Krang, who isn't quite as bad as he is on SNES, even though robot walkers are a much bigger problem here. You can only really give us two patterns. Just throw out the bubbles. With proper timing, we can beat that every time. You can also just release robot walkers, which is not a preferable pattern. Even though you can hit him the entire time. I don't know what he's doing here. Through that. Really though, DP is the star of the show in this fight. It beats out anything that he wants to try. I am getting a lot of robot walkers here. Yeah, I figured I was taking a death. I wasn't really playing that well. Particularly because he was spawning most of those stupid things. But we're still on a 2cc, so that's good. Unfortunate. Okay. So the one death wasn't good. I would have been a lot more careful if I had been on 1cc pace, but
Technodrome.
Shredder isn't the hardest boss in the world to one life. Oh, it's actually just Shredder here instead of Super Shredder, and he has a lightsaber for some reason. Bad input there, but I didn't get punished for it. So the key thing with Shredder, just be as invincible as you can. There's a pattern where you can make it fast that involves manipulation, which I'm not super familiar with. I've watched it be done, I just haven't executed it myself. So essentially I'm going to be doing the same thing I did against Krang, just walk up and special and to my heart's content, because he can't beat me out of this. He is really fast though, so even if I'm walking up to him, he can get away from me if he wants to. I also just love how the Shredder sprite looks. It looks really, really cool. He's just so big. He's like 8 feet tall here or something. He hasn't shown all of his attacks yet either. Essentially anything he does is just purely invincible, and I can't really like try to challenge it. Ow. Okay. Wish there was really more to say. It's more just going to be about like paying attention from here. Okay, so here's his one scary attack. That's a mutagen ray that does one-shot you. You can, however, wait right underneath him and wait for him to descend and then DP, and you won't get hit. That's the most useful thing you can do there. Also, don't jump too late into that because you will get hit. that has really, really weird startup frames. Actually, just regular Shredder. Very different boss fight from SNES. Dodge that. Fireball does really good damage, but it's easy to avoid because it has like a full second of startup or so. Wait this out. Alright, it's gonna finish him off. Sorry I couldn't get a 1cc for you guys, but
the Teenage Mutant
still a reasonable run, I think.
Our 4 reptilian heroes have overcome the arc villain.
Every stage is actually pretty good except for the pirate ship, and I haven't had a problematic pirate ship all week, but I got meaty setups, so that was kind of gross. Whew, heck of a thing. Anyway, I definitely wanted to run that game this weekend because a lot of people just, as I mentioned, just aren't familiar with this game at all. A lot of people only know of the SNES version. They're just like, wait, this was an arcade? And yeah, it absolutely was. It's really good too, but it's incredibly challenging. And thank you all so much for the GGs. I kind of wish this game had more developed credits though. Because all you're really good is this end credit sequence. And then it loops you back to the first stage. Granted, at the end, it does it on SNES as well, so I don't know. And then loops you right back into Big Apple. So anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out with me this morning while I play some video games. I'm going to hand it off to Cove. We're going to be playing some Subnautica, which is a really cool game. And then right after that, he's going to be doing a run of Final Fantasy III, US 6 Japan for the category Kefka and Narsh. It's a great speed run. So again, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and enjoy Cove. I will see you all again next time.